I'm going now. It always seems to be going nowhere now, yeah. But then I look at you and I find my peace. I find my rest, the one who always next to me. I know that ever think I go. You always understand me, never so. But then I sometimes wonder what I am supposed to do. But then you tell me that I'm going through what you already know. You say you tell me that you understand. I really need to know that you will pick me up every time again. I just want to thank you for your patience and love. It seems like everything you know is what I'm going through. You're always there every time I want to know that you're always there, and now I know it for sure. Every time I dream of you at night, I think that you might leave the next day and never come back. But I realize it's all a nightmare, not a dream, 'cause a dream is you, because my dream is with you. Every time I'm awake at night, I think if I can It never feels like I know where I'm going now. It always seems to be going nowhere now, yeah. But then I look at you and I find my peace. I find my rest, the one who always next to me. I know that ever think I go. You always understand me, never so. But then I sometimes wonder what I am supposed to do. But then you tell me that I'm going through what you already know. Well, everybody, welcome back to the Trig Podcast. So, Joey and Goso TV on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, 4:14, only an hour away from the Dodgers' first championship in since 1988. So that's been, 3,000 years. So, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this video talking today about how to have fun, even though you can't do anything these days. Lockdown and pandemic and all these things, but obviously we can still do some things, right? By the way, my name is davidTrig, and I am here to bring you Goso, joy, Goso for the whole family. By the way, let me get my Goso hat on. If you would like to order one of these, you can just go to my store, davidtrig.com/store. You can also get the cups that are back there, my Goso mugs, at my store, davidtrig.com/Goso or davidtrig.com/shop. So, I think one of the best ways to have fun is to enjoy sports, right? Especially if you're an LA Dodger fan like I am, and I'm thinking this could be the best 4 weeks of my life. Lakers, Dodgers. Hopefully the election goes my way next week or whatever your way is, and that would be like the trifecta. And then we get this virus out of here, and man, that would be an awesome end of the year, right? One can only hope. But I do think that enjoying things such as sports and woodworking or flowers are very easy ways to bring freedom back into your life. Obviously, as I said, these days we're limited in terms of what we can do, how much we can spend, how much fun you can have, where you can go. But there are ways to get around that, right? So I'm going to give you at least a few ways to do this. Number one, as I just said, is to develop a new hobby. So I was looking into this hobby of how to do some woodwork, how to work on maybe I think this guy was making pallets. Using pallets to make, one of them was like a toilet paper holder. The other one was like a toolbox. Another one, I forget. Those are the two that I saw. And the website or the YouTube video is called I Love Woodworking. I think it's I Like Woodworking. Really, really fun. Really enjoyed it. And so maybe you want to get into that You may want to get into, I was listening to a friend, he was getting into canoeing. Is that what it was? Yeah, or maybe it was like bass fishing or something like that. But it wasn't just any old bass fishing. I've never done bass fishing. But from what I was hearing him, he went on YouTube again and watched, 100 hours of video on getting the right kind of canoe. And it wasn't like the one that you just tie to the top of your truck. It was some fancy schwancy stuff. And his daughter was with him on this video podcast that I was listening to. And she was saying how much her dad loves hobbies and how important hobbies are. I did go fly fishing once, maybe, it's been like 10 years almost when I lived in Colorado. Shout out to all my Coloradan friends. And wow, I love fly fishing. You know, you've seen that movie where the river runs through it. Is that what it's called? And Brad Pitt was out there on that lake or river, whatever it was. That's how I felt. And actually, that's what I was doing. We were in a lake at maybe 15,000 feet up in the Colorado mountains. And we got to this top of this mountain, and there was a lake that was frozen, but then, it melted. And so this beautiful lake was there on this crater. And then my friend who I was with, Dennis, I believe is his name, and Gary, I believe is the other guy's name, and a few other friends. There were about 10 of us that went up this mountain. We got our rods out. It had been my first time, and man, what a fun time. I was thinking for other people, maybe golf. If you are into miniature golfing, maybe you want to try real golf. If you are, as I said, my wife loves flowers, and so every week or every 2 weeks, she'll go to Home Depot or go to the local nursery and bring some flowers. I remember the last time she went with her mom, which was very special. And so together they went and got some flowers. And then when she gets home from work, instead of just coming in and doing all the normal stuff, she waters them. She's out there for maybe 10, 20 minutes, just kind of winding down from her day. Sometimes I'll join her. Sometimes she'll just be out there just kind of winding down. And it's a wonderful way to relax, to spend some time doing something you love. So maybe try that. Maybe that would be a good hobby. So leave a comment below. What is your favorite way to relax, meaning as a hobby? And I think second is to avoid addictions, avoid overeating, drinking, over-drinking, smoking, all the things that it seems like it's just so popular these days with the pandemic. Avoid that stuff. It's not going to make you feel good the next day. Your body's going to resent it. You're going to resent it. Your neighbors, your friend, your partner, your kids. You're developing bad habits. You're damaging your body. I understand that maybe once a month it's okay, but every weekend, every night, a lot of people, they have their rosé and their wine, and it can just become an addicting thing. Expensive addiction, by the way. I had a friend who was telling me that at first it was just a couple of beers, but then it became an issue between her and her husband. They began to get into arguments over things, and eventually he cheated on her. He got into heavy drugs, actually ended up in jail. And so, you have a lot of problems that can come out of drinking. And I think that for the most part, you want to always ask yourself, why am I over drinking or overeating, or why am I in this place? Is this fun? I was listening to another podcast, and it was two young guys, and one of them was saying, was it Sober October? Is that what's happening this month? How he was doing the Sober October thing, and how he said he feels so much better. He feels alert, like he can work, he can wake up early and go for a run. So you want to think about all those things in terms of your habits. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here at my show. See a couple of comments are on the screen. Welcome. Nice to have you. Please leave me a comment below. Let me know kind of how you're doing. Go Dodgers. We're talking about how to have fun these days, how to feel free even though we can't do much. So the third tip is to move your body. So moving your body doesn't have to be boring, doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be something you don't like to do. Be creative. So for example, I got into biking a while back. I had a bike that I'd had for a long time. I cleaned it, I fixed the tires, I just kind of did what I could. And even though obviously we all live in the city here, I just went up and down a couple of more empty blocks. I even went down to the what do they call them? To the canals, I guess, to the where, the river beds, I guess. And so I went there a couple of times. And so maybe I have another friend who likes to go out with a whole pack of bicyclists, I guess. So maybe you're one of those. Perhaps you love running. I know a lot of people don't like running, but I love running. And so I will go. I went for a run today. Is what, Tuesday? I think it was Saturday. Yeah, Friday or Saturday. I went for a nice, just 15-minute kind of like a sprint. And so when I was at USC, I was working on campus there. I would go on the USC track. Check this out. Where all the Olympic athletes would train. All of these football players and athletes that would go on to make millions. I would run next to them and I would watch their practices and all of their exercises. And I picked up a lot of things. I remember seeing a pole vaulter and I thought, wow, she is incredible. I never knew how high these pole vaulters have to go. So running, a lot of people are into yoga. That's more meditative, but I did yoga for maybe 4 years. Loved every second of it. Very much a connection of your soul and your body. It's both aerobic, I guess, or definitely stretching and very good for your muscles and your tone, but it's also contemplative, spiritual. And you can pray, you can talk to Jesus, you can read your Bible, or not read your Bible, but you can think of verses from the scriptures. You don't have to think of Buddha or of Hinduism or of whatever thing you are afraid of. You can take it as you can and enjoy yoga. There are a lot of Zoom studios that are doing things for free. You can go to YouTube and watch a video. So number 3 is exercise. Number 4 is you can watch sports, like I said at the beginning, especially these days where you have a ton of stuff. Oh, let me just make sure that I'm checking out the comments here really quick. Let's see here. Hello, motorcycles. Yeah, who'd known? Thank you for being here. Yeah, it says here motorcycles, yoga, practice created by Shiva, right, exactly. Abomination is the Lord, right. Yeah, so you have a lot of definitely, as I said, a lot of different stances on yoga. And as I said, take it as you need to take it in terms of if it's something that is an abomination to you and to your faith, then obviously do something that is beneficial to your body. So do the things that are important. And so, who'd known? Thank you for that and the comments there. So I was talking about sports, right? So I think it was in the 4th tip or 3rd tip. So sports is an awesome way to enjoy and to have fun in your life, to not get so down. And so you're not maybe an athlete, but you might enjoy watching sports. Maybe you do enjoy going out to the park. Obviously, we have to social distance and do all these things these days, but maybe, obviously, the Dodgers are on tonight, so get your favorite snacks and do something that you love. Bring your family together. Maybe even, I have a friend who will FaceTime with his friends on their phones while they're watching the game together. And so it's like a get together, but through FaceTime. So that might be a new way to watch sports. Just Sunday, just a couple of days ago, I watched the LA Rams, which I hadn't watched in years since, I don't know, I got into other things, I guess. But that was fun. And obviously the Lakers just won. You have a ton of sports. I'm into boxing. So I just watched my favorite boxer on Friday night, I think it was, Chocolatito. And that was a fun fight. So, I think sports is not just entertainment, but it's also a way to create memories. There are many ways that you can create memories with your children just by watching sports. It is a great way for you to have that time that maybe you had with your dad or you had with your grandfather or maybe your family if you're older. You used to watch, I don't know, the Rams, the Angels, the Dodgers, whatever it may be, football, maybe tennis, maybe, I don't know, NASCAR, something. And then as you now do that yourself with your family, no matter your age, no matter whatever, you can create new memories. I had a friend telling me that he and his dad didn't have a really good relationship, but watching, I think it was baseball, was about the only thing that they could do without fighting and arguing. And so they would often watch baseball, and those were some of his best memories that I think now, whether his dad's older or maybe he's even passed away, that now he likes to do that with his family as a way to remember his own father. So sports, watching sports, participating in sports can be, wearing the Dodger colors, Laker colors, whatever your favorite team is. You don't have a team, you're not into sports, don't be such a Scrooge. Just wear something fun, get into it. You don't have to understand the sport. You don't have to be all crazy. Just get into it because it is refreshing to your soul. And then the last one is to learn, maybe to read and to learn from books. Turn off the phone, turn off the Netflix, turn off Amazon or YouTube or whatever, definitely Facebook, Instagram, and read some of the books, especially biographies or autobiographies. I find them very, very fascinating, but pick up a book that you're really into. I had a friend who wanted to learn about accounting, and so she's reading books on QuickBooks and accounting, and maybe even how to do your own taxes. Perhaps you want to go back to school and you want to study for your finals, or right here we're in end of October, so I guess midterms, or maybe the end of the semester is coming soon. So maybe going back to school, taking a class at City College or at a community college might be a great way to entertain yourself, or to get your mind, to occupy your mind on positive things. Take a course online. Obviously, I offer a lot of courses. I offer a course called Deliverance. I am delivered, so you can take that course. It is free at davidTrig.com/deliverance. I think we're starting a class here in the next few months. So taking a course, going online, taking a Zoom class, going back to school, reading biographies. One of the books that I love to read, because, I love spiritual and obviously biblical material, I read a ton of commentaries and systemic theology. I know I'm one of those crazy guys, but one of them is by Paul Tillich. Paul Tillich was I think a German theologian, and he passed away a while back, but he wrote a 3-volume set called Systemic Theology, and I have 2 versions of that 3-volume set. And I know I read it for fun. Like, for example, I was reading, chapter 1, I guess, this morning, and it talked about the difference between theology and philosophy. And it was interesting because I was listening to a philosopher / spiritual guru per se, or wisdom man named Nava. I forget his last name. He is a billionaire, and I think he invested in Twitter and Facebook, and so he's still making his money through tech and Bitcoin and all that. Very, very intelligent guy. Cryptocurrency. By the way, are you into cryptocurrency? Leave a comment below if you are into that. Have you invested into Bitcoin, or what's the other one called? I forget. There are a couple of different coins, I guess, that you can invest into. Do you even know what cryptocurrency is? If you don't, just look it up on YouTube. It's I guess you call it a digital wallet. Anyway, so he was talking about philosophy, and it was very interesting because he's more of a practical philosopher. And obviously he talks a lot about tech and money, but I was intrigued by his take on philosophy. And then reading Tillich this morning, it gave me an understanding of the differences between philosophy and theology. Theology, the study of God. Philosophy, the study of, I don't know what philosophy stands for. Leave me a comment below if you know what philo stands for. Is that knowledge? That's gnosis. So anyway, so philosophy, the study of thinking, of thoughts. I'm not sure. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what that is. I'm going to look it up right now because I'm one of those guys that doesn't like to leave myself hanging. Philosophy, meaning. Let's see. Philosophy, I'm talking about the etymology of it, meaning the meaning of it, not the definition, but the actual etymology. So here it is, a study of theoretical basis of a particular branch of knowledge. So it does deal with knowledge, obviously. Let's see what the etymology is. I always like to know the etymology of it. Philosophia, love. Okay, philo, right? Yeah, okay. So that is what it means. Oh, duh. I should have known. I knew that philo means love or friendship, and Sophia means wisdom. I know that because of my Greek family. And so, of course, it means the love of wisdom. Philo As in friendship, it means love. It means relationship. It means it's one of the three Greek words for love. And so the love of friendship. And then Sophia, as I said, means wisdom. So it is the love of wisdom. So isn't that awesome? So philosophy means the love of wisdom. Well, theology means, as I said, the study of God. And so it was really interesting to read Paul Tillich, to watch this or to listen to this and to watch this YouTube video by this gentleman. As I said, his name is Nava. I forget his last name. And just really interesting. You know, I also love the Joe Rogan podcast. Are you familiar with the Joe Rogan? Leave a comment below if you know who Joe Rogan is. He has a very popular podcast on Spotify, millions and millions of listeners, and YouTube as well. And he had Kanye West on, I think it was a couple days ago, maybe Monday or Friday. Very interesting. As an artist and creative myself, if you're more linear, then you won't get Kanye. If you're more of a you don't like creatives and you think they're all crazy people, then you won't enjoy Kanye. But as a creative myself, and as someone who is sometimes at times an out of the box thinker, I can keep up with Kanye's kind of bipolar, I guess that's what he says he has, or people have called him that. But very interesting. He talks about creating a monastery that is self-sustaining out in, 300 acres of Nevada or somewhere, where he wants to create this a monastic culture of Jesus people. And so I don't think it's cultish. It doesn't sound cultish at all. And of course he wants to he is running for president. So he was talking about that. He was talking about, what else is he talking? Of course, Sunday service last year and how the pandemic stopped that, but how he was not only creating these worship environments, but also he was, I guess, designing his own clothes. He said he's always loved the Gap. And so Gap clothing, he said that he used to work at the Gap and then he stole khakis for his friend once when he was 13 and he got caught. And then ironically, he said that friend stole some of his gold chains and diamond chains. And so it was kind of one of those things, one of those paradoxes or full circle kind of things. But Kanye was being Kanye, but I really enjoyed his knowledge, his out of the box thinking. As I said, if you don't like creatives, you probably don't like me, and you definitely won't like Kanye because he is all over the place. You think I'm all over the place. Wow. And yet he is worth, I think he said $4 billion, billion with a B, goes so billions, through obviously his musical brand, his clothing brand, and all the rest that he's doing. So very interesting interview. I must admit, after an hour and 45 minutes, I think the interview went on for 3 hours, but after almost 2 hours, I was tired, even me, of Kanye West. So those are the 5 ways that I think all of us can learn to enjoy life. I find that these days, it's more difficult than before. And at the same time, even as I say that, it's easier than ever to enjoy your life. Because I don't know what philosopher, speaking of philosophy, said that depression is the multitude of choices. That, in other words, depression comes when we have too many choices. And I find that to be true, right? Don't you get more anxious the more choices that you have? And so now that we have less choices, maybe anxiety, fear, anger can recede. You can have less anger and be more at peace with yourself if you learn to focus and to simplify your life. Oops, excuse me. There's a bunch of noise out there. And so, you can just sort of think about what are the ways in which you can simplify your life? What are the ways in which you can have less choices and enjoy the less choices? Like, for example, for me, I have tech and microphones and I have Goso mugs and blah, 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 and all this stuff, million books, million guitars. What I am finding to be peaceful these days is woodworking. And so just, maybe it's been now, maybe 4 or 5 days, just last week. This wasn't a major project, but a family member gave me a bunch of books, speaking of books, and a bookshelf. And the bookshelf was kind of old and kind of not very well kept. And so it was out there in the garage for a while. I kind of didn't want to bring it in until I decided if I even wanted to keep it, because it didn't match my colors. I'm into colors and all that kind of stuff. I like to paint stuff. So you see behind me, I've painted that dresser and the door. I mean, it's simple stuff, but I like to make things look a little different. And so I finally decided to clean it and to just do a few things to it, just to kind of nail a few things here and there. Nothing major, just a very small project, but just working with my hands. See, if you're someone that's a creative, or maybe someone who's in your feelings a lot, or maybe someone who's in your head a lot, and you deal with feelings of shame or feelings of anger or feelings of anxiety or of fear, then working with your hands, getting your hands dirty, as people say, getting your body moving, such as painting, such as woodworking, such as knitting or drawing, can be very, very beneficial to your body and can calm all those PTSD and fear, anger, depression, shame feelings down. It can get you in a different frame of mind, especially these days. I have another friend who was telling me that because she's a physical therapist and a personal trainer, and with all this happening, she doesn't have as many clients. Her business is, woo. So what she's done, like many people, she's making banana bread and selling it. So she was offering to bring me some banana bread here next week. So maybe that's something that you can try to do, is to use some of the narrow options or the fewer options that we all have to do something that you really love. Maybe go back to something like watching the game, and to wear the paint on your face, or the little LA on your cheek, or to get out that Dodger t-shirt, or whatever it may be, but going back to some of those nostalgic traditions that will bring you joy. Well, that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you leave me a comment. Hit that bell notification on YouTube. If you're watching me on Instagram, thank you. Make sure that you comment and like my channel, David Trig. If you are anywhere on my platforms, thank you for being here. Twitch, Periscope, all the rest. Thank you for being here. Make sure you go to my website to get all the latest video courses and trainings that I offer for free. You can listen to my podcast, which is also available, all at davidtrig.com. Go Dodgers. Thank you so much for being here.